Hello my friends and welcome to today's video. First of all, if you are new here, my name is Beck and I upload new health and wellness videos every single week. The topic today is very near and dear to my heart. Everybody's spiritual journey is directly connected to their mental health, their physical well-being, emotional, it's connected to everything. Before you decide whether this video is for you or not, I do just want to say a spiritual journey can be about God and that realm, or it can be about you connecting personally to your spirit, to your soul, to the earth. This video might encompass a little bit of both, but I mainly today want to talk about connecting to your own spirit. Before we get started, just a little bit of background. Maybe you can relate to this. I feel like I grew up completely shunning the feminine in me. There were just a lot of things where being feminine was so critiqued that I was like, if I can't laugh loud, if I can't sit comfortably, if all of those things aren't considered ladylike, then I don't want to be a lady. I remember thinking that I had so many more rules I had to follow than boys my age did. I had to be extra careful with what I wore and how I acted and who I hung out with. And I remember being so frustrated because it was okay for boys to show their bellies and their shoulders, but it wasn't okay for me as a girl. There were so many things about being a girl that were made fun of, whether you were a man or a woman. I felt like if I was too feminine as a girl, I was made fun of. If a man is too feminine, he's also made fun of. So it was like, wow, being feminine is worthy of mockery. I thought I'm going to lean into the masculine instead, because when you're masculine, you don't get made fun of. When you're masculine, people respect you. This dialogue, this internal narrative controlled my entire life. It really has created a lot of issues, a lot of pain for me. There are so many people, men and women, that can relate to that. My spiritual journey really started there. It started with embracing who I was as a woman, embracing my feminine side. I hope that you are able to get something from this video that will help you improve spiritually and connect and know yourself better. If I'm looking down a lot, it's because I have notes and I don't want to miss anything, and I'm so excited and passionate about this. The first action item to pursuing your spiritual journey, journaling and gratitude. And I feel like this is very trendy, but there's a reason for this trend. And it's because it really does help and it puts you at this higher frequency. Journaling as well can help you feel your emotions, getting them out on paper, whether they're positive or negative. It just helps you get to know yourself better. There are things where I'll write it down and I'm like, holy cow, I didn't know I felt that way. I also try to end the evening with gratitude. Being grateful welcomes more positivity into your life. This idea of frequency comes from the book You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero. I'm going to link all of my resources and everything down below in the description box. I've mentioned this book before, and it's because it truly is life-changing. And I started this spiritual journey quite a few years ago, and I feel myself kind of scaling back now. And so this video is kind of perfect timing for me as well to get back on this spiritual journey with you. She talks about frequency and how we all have different frequencies, right? We're all made of matter. Depending on your emotions, depending on where you're at mentally, can give off a different frequency. When we are living a life of gratitude and feeling like the universe is on our side and that we can have anything we want, that it already exists, we just have to reach out and grab it, we are emitting a higher frequency, and in a sense, we are closer to the highest version of ourselves. So she says, our entire experience on this planet is determined by how we choose to perceive our reality. A lot of our reality is in our heads. It's how we are perceiving the world. This is something that I definitely need to work on. Keeping a gratitude journal, keeping track of your emotions, why you're feeling the way that you are, all of that. So journaling and gratitude, I'm kind of putting those in the same category, are my first thing that I would do to start a spiritual journey. Second is meditation and finding your inner knowing. People feel like meditation has to look a certain way. Meditation for me is simply not even quieting my mind, but just being open to receiving what I need to. In my case, it's from God. In your case, it might be from the universe or from yourself. Just sitting and listening. Prayer and journaling and affirmations are about speaking and asking. Meditation is about listening. You know how like when you get your best ideas is when you're like in the shower or right before bed. It's when your mind is the calmest, you have no distraction, you're just by yourself with your thoughts. This is the same atmosphere that we want to create when we are meditating. I live in a constant state of anxiety, in a constant state of fight or flight. And if this is you as well, meditation can be really difficult because you're like, oh yeah, I'll just invite whatever thoughts in, and then like intrusive thoughts and anxious thoughts enter your mind and you're like, okay, this isn't working. Something that I have found to be really helpful is to put a nature sounds playlist on my phone. I will also link the playlist that I use in the description box. It has been scientifically studied and proven that the sound of birds chirping can actually lower your state of stress. Living in the wild, if you could hear the sound of birds, it meant you were safe. So I oftentimes will listen to the sound of birds chirping and maybe wind or a stream that can really help calm my central nervous system and help me get into that meditative state. Something else that goes along with this that I absolutely love is the idea of your inner knowing. And Glennon Doyle explains this in her book Untamed. She talks about this inner knowing of how she would sit in a dark closet and just like sink deeper into herself and figure out like what her inner knowing was telling her or what God was telling her. She says, the more I live by my knowing, the more my life becomes my own and the less afraid I become. I trust that the knowing will go with me wherever I go, nudging me toward the next thing one at a time, guiding me all the way home. For the rest of your life, continue to shorten the gap between the knowing and the doing. That's kind of what I rely on when I'm meditating, is that the answers will come, that they're already there. I just have to be still enough to receive them. Again, that state of receiving and having an open mind. Something else that is very new to me that I have found very helpful. I actually started doing this last week. I feel like it's been a very spiritual experience for me. I already have goosebumps. This tip is to apply movement to your emotions. Whenever you're feeling a really strong emotion, go to a quiet, solitary place and move through that emotion. It can help you feel the emotion, and Simply Sadie Jane explains it really well on her Instagram, and she's actually who I got the idea from. Don't knock it till you try it. Just try it. Try it this week and let me know how it went for you. Going along with that, another post I saw from Sadie Jane was the idea of sacred rage. Like, I grew up thinking that rage was a bad thing. You're supposed to control your anger. To feel like your emotions are sacred is extremely powerful and very awakening, I guess. As a woman, you know, you're told if you're really emotional, then you're just being dramatic, or it's your time of the month. And then as a man, if you give in to your emotions, if you cry, if you show emotion, then you're not a true man. It's just ridiculous. If we have that mindset that our emotions are trying to tell us something, our emotions are sacred, they're how we navigate life, it really changes your whole perspective on the matter and allows you to feel the emotions without acting too rashly on your emotions. This is still a work in progress for me. I'm not perfect by any means at any of these tips that I'm giving. So kind of along with that sacred rage and what I talked about with, you know, menstrual cycles and things, there's something called moon cycling that is so intriguing to me. It helped heal me of my negative thoughts towards God and giving women periods and childbirth and labor, you know, all these things that women have to go through that I was just resentful about. Moon cycling basically is changing your lifestyle according to what phase of your cycle you are in. The more you delve into this and the more that you recognize it and learn about it, the easier it is to handle those phases of your cycle and really be as productive and self-loving as you can. One example of this for me, like healing my thoughts about having a period and everything, is knowing that the week that you're on your period is a time to relax. It's your body telling you to slow down, to take a break, and to reflect. If you recognize that, hey, right now I might be having a little bit more negative self-talk, and that is okay. That is normal for this phase of my cycle. It will get better. Right now I need to focus on rest. I don't pressure myself to lift heavy weights and do intense exercises when I'm on my period. I don't feel guilty for not doing those exercises. The more you learn about these phases of your cycle, the more aha moments you'll have and the less self-hate and frustration you will have, because you are learning about why your body does the things that it does. So the last thing I want to talk about as far as your spiritual journey is learning more about holistic healing and physical health. Your physical health greatly impacts your mental health and vice versa. Where you're at spiritually, how connected you are to yourself, the thoughts that you have, your inner dialogue also directly affects your physical health. You might have this inner dialogue of, my legs are so fat, genetically I could never have an athletic body. Eventually your soul and your body start to believe that. Maybe it's hard for you to love your appearance, but you can at least appreciate your body. With that being said, you can't fully change everything just by having positive thoughts and saying positive affirmations. You have to accompany that with fueling your body in the right ways, listening to your body, eating intuitively, getting enough sleep. So not only being kind to yourself internally, but also physically being kind to yourself and taking care of yourself. Like I said, all resources that I feel have really helped me on this journey will be linked in the description box below. If you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Let me know what you thought of this video and if I should make more that are like it. I think that's all I want to say. So thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you back here next time.